I'm Andrew.
I'm Adrian.
I'm George.
And it's about effing time.
We did a reunion.
Yes.
Yes, it is. That felt so happy.
Yes.
Sorry, guys.
Because Marcus told us to turn it up.
Where the fuck are we?
Let's start there. This is Welcome to My Criminal Lair. This is the Time and Tide Watch Discovery Studio. And I think it's a good place to start because there's a lot of conspiracy theories about why we haven't done a show for a year and why the show kind of, how would you call it? We split up, we ended. We
Just stopped doing shows.
Stopped doing shows.
Yeah, we moved out of, you can see, we're in a new office. Yeah. We're in a new, as you say, criminal lair.
Criminal lair.
It's not actually, Batman lair, I think, would be kind of cooler.
It's above ground. But look, I think the point is just that the businesses drove us, I think, into, drove us apart in a way. Because we suddenly...
I think we just built something that was just too big to sustain.
Yeah.
It essentially just built a whole new business when it wasn't like we were all sitting around waiting to do stuff. We were already busy as it was. And then suddenly we just had this machine, this monster.
It was big.
It was hungry.
But the thing
We've
is,
just done it again.
Cool.
We've got so many cameras.
Honestly, it was fucking cool.
Yeah,
and,
it was.
And I kind of had remorse after the plug was pulled, and for a couple of months I was like, what the hell's gone on?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I think we sit on this. Is it's like, you talk about conspiracy theories. Well. We weren't abducted by aliens. We were. Well, I don't know, Adrian.
You are sitting different.
Someone grey. Well, you've kind of changed. It's kind of grey, but it's greeny grey.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's kind of, but the thing I would say is that it's been an interesting next stage. Andrew, you have gone ballistic. You have gone pizza mad. You have gone world domination mad. I mean, like Bark and Jack. I mean, like Jesus Christ, what's happened there?
Yeah.
We've actually done some work on our businesses, is the point. But I was just going to round it off and say, yes, they probably did drive us apart from the show, but they actually brought us back together here.
Well, I will say,
that's
at
what
no
led
point
to us.
has this felt like there's been a year gap. This immediately feels like it was only last month that we were recording another season, the previous season.
Yeah, but what we did do that was quite clever is we kept him coming in for 2 days and then not seeing each other for a couple of months and go, hey, good to see you again.
And if you could see the rig, it's like Marcus is like, now boys, you remember why we filmed a season every time we got together? There are so many cameras. It's like, it's a flashback to, I don't know how many seasons there were.
And also Andrew's got his cheat sheets.
I have my cheat sheet here, which, I used to have the papers. I used to print them out. We've moved it up. But our businesses have been brought back together into this space. Bark and Jack is here. Bamford is back here. And that was the discussion. It was like, hey, we're all going to be in the Discovery Studio. We're going to sit down and have several Coke Zeros and talk about the last year. Yeah. Let's just put a camera on us.
And it's, of course, when it's support. Supporting you on this new venture. You're moving this Discovery Studio from Australia to the UK. Of course, hell yes.
Yeah.
Of course we would said yes.
And there's a really cool element of weird, I don't know, you're significantly older than I am, so it's weird that
Nothing changes. Nothing changes. Mark that up in the column. I'll come in.
But there was a real significant element of pride that I felt, having seen the empty shell, the challenges that you guys had as a company trying to secure a place. You kept telling me, we've got it, we found it, this is one, and then next week, no, it fell through. And then you found this place, it was an empty shell, and you've turned it into this.
I remember you coming in, and it was like, you just said, I want to take a picture of you now before... We'll have to find that picture.
I want to take the next one.
Standing in the empty room. And again, we've sort of done this together. You guys have been on the journey of doing this. But I just want to talk to you, the audience, and say, yes, there was a hiatus, and yes, we were driven apart because we had so much to do to get our businesses back afloat, back on track and focused. And obviously, George has exploded too. There's a lot we're going to hear about what you're doing. But we are back together in this space, and we have actually been tracking each other, but we haven't been in the same room like this for a long time.
Sorry, one thing, as you said on the WhatsApp group, hey, come and do it. Let's do a reunion show. And I was like, that's freaking cool.
And we're here this weekend to celebrate British watch brands for a whole month.
So this is coming out after the British Watch Weekend. Tell us about that.
So this is the first thing I wanted to do when we got in this space was launch a non-Microbrand watch in the space. So
let's see what's on your wrist.
Okay,
let's do a wrist check.
Let's do a wrist check. I remember this part.
Of course, he's going to come to that point.
You start.
Go no, because you've got a new product. You've got something.
If this is an About Effing Time episode, I have to miss the mark wildly, Adrian. So
I have to cut that out because my belly's sticking out. So
I'm pretty sure it's in
keep
on
the belly in.
So explain the watch. Come on.
Okay.
Do a full wrist roll.
This is the Tag Heuer. I've got this
You're
memorized.
still shit at this, man.
I know, fuck. It wouldn't be About Effing Time if I could nail this. This is the Tag Heuer Aqua Racer Solargraph times Time and Tide Sundowner, which is a rose gold and titanium solargraph. Now, I don't know if you saw, but last year I just kind of went, maybe it was like a missing GB thing. Maybe it was, I've just been wearing the, I wore the solargraph on a Bark and Jack strap. You saw that last year. I went on Teddy Baldessari and what watch did you wear the most? It was it was this watch on a NATO, and I just decided that this was a combination that the world needed to.
I just have to say, legally,
Share with
they're not called NATO straps. They're called single-piece fabric straps.
Can we go straight into that? Let's go straight into the belly of that beast. Adrian, how's your year been?
Fuck me.
That's a trigger point.
Yeah, such a shit year.
Yeah.
There's not much I can talk about it. Like I've signed stuff that says I'm not allowed to talk about it.
Okay.
Lost a lot of money. We'll just leave it at that.
And critically Google things, and then you can understand.
Yeah. If you're familiar with the strap world, what I do, lost lots of money because of that. That's pretty much all I can say.
Let's flip to your watch then and talk about the single piece fabric strap. Is that okay?
Is that ridged for your pleasure?
This one is our 70-30.
I always miss that rib for your pleasure.
No.
I wore this watch for a reason. I know it's a boring watch.
What, really?
Yeah.
Really? Oh,
But you are
Rolex
Captain
Explorer
Boring,
2.
But there was a story behind this because I dropped it and completely...
that was such a good
this one.
video. That was such a good
and I
video.
completely shattered the crystal. And it went all inside of it. That might not come out, but there's really deep marks.
I like that. I like those deep marks.
And there's scratches on the dial now from where the crystal got wedged between the crystal
cool.
and the dial.
Can I say if I can?
So that's got your own love.
Exactly, yeah. And it was hilarious at the time. It wasn't hilarious at all. I was out camping with my boys, doing a bonfire and taking photographs of the watch on different straps. Dropped it.
As a dad, you would always do that, especially as a watch dad.
I kind of love how there was this slight sort of shaming of your children in the video, where somehow it was
they
their
shame
fault.
me because I dropped the watch, pick it up, realised I smashed the crystal, and I obviously started going, shit. And then my eldest just said, Dad, you really should stop swearing. I was like, I've just dropped a flopping watch. But it's it's battle scarred to hell, but I love it. It's I think it looks sick.
I also love how much content you milked out of it. It
Oh,
was like
I had
6
to.
months of content.
So I had to pay 780 quid.
My conspiracy theory is...
Wait. One thing. Mr. Porsche.
Okay,
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
God, sexy person
So-
as a Porsche.
So talking about highlights and lowlights of the year, the low light was losing
Something.
the equivalent of just flushing a solid gold Patek down the toilet.
What the hell was
Siri,
that?
shush now.
Do you have a male Siri?
Doesn't everyone have a male
No,
Siri?
get a female Siri, dude.
Hey Siri.
My girl's ready.
Hey, she sounds nice.
Yeah, she's lovely. I chose the Australian one.
Hey Siri.
You shouldn't be talking to Adrian. You should only respond to my voice.
Tell me a joke.
No.
Oh, fuck you.
No.
So yeah, talking about highlights and lowlights of the year, losing a lot of money and having our business crippled for about 4 months was a lowlight. But a massive highlight was, there's a funny story around it, is doing a bit of work with Porsche. They sent me an email saying, hey, we really enjoy your channel. We've got an idea.
They being Porsche.
All right, Porsche emailed me. Porsche's marketing team emailed me saying, hey, really like your channel. We've got an idea for a project that we'd like to do with you. And I thought, yeah, scam. delete. 2 weeks later, I got a DM on Instagram saying, Adrian, we sent you an email. Could you respond? I thought, God, these guys are keen to scam this. Then I clicked on their Instagram account, 32 million followers.
Hello.
This is actually
Hi.
very sorry.
You look very sexy.
I do want to just immediately just put some music underneath the pictures of Adrian trying to figure out the square root of 73 because they are some sexy. I mean, they don't even look like you.
No. Well, that's the thing.
I was attracted to that.
I had a makeup. Oh, thanks, man.
It's not you, though.
We can do it again. I had a makeup artist, and she spent about half an hour putting stuff on me.
But even your hands looked good.
Oh, that's just Photoshop. And it was a lot of Photoshop because it was freezing cold, and they dressed me. It was a very surreal experience. I'll have to do a video talking about it, breaking down.
Definitely slimmed you down a pound or two.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, just a chisel here and there.
Just being out in the cold.
Marcus, can we get the Andrew diet kind of look, and then I'm fine. Okay, that's the retouching.
You did, George. Highs and lows. Tell us.
Highs and lows. Well, firstly, I'm going to tell you what I've got on my wrist. So that's,
yes, do so.
Fuck you for asking me a question. I did ask you a question. Now, don't worry. Okay, because we're in the British weekend. I thought this was coming out in British time, so I thought I'd bring a British watch. That is the Bremont that I did. That is the. So Cali dial, this is actually the prototype of the Bremont, and this is the Aurora. I went up to Scotland and froze my arse off.
Oh, that content was fantastic.
Shoot was amazing.
And
That was
basically froze my...
lights. Yeah. Just turned on for George. Where'd you find the switch?
What?
You just turned the southern lights.
Oh, that was. But anyway, it was an amazing shoot, and we lucked out with the snow. I was actually meant to be running, cycling, and everything, and then it all kind of the snow came in, and we got stuck up in Scotland in a Land Rover, freezing on.
That looks so good.
And in an Airbnb. But this was the result of the watch, the Cali dial. And I loved working with Davide, finishing this off, especially with the round, so the rounded GMT bezel. So if you actually look at the half circles at the top, so here and here, I just loved it. I loved the Cali dial. I loved the second hand that we did with the Arrow second hand. And that was the prototype. And I've been wearing it and wearing. As you can see, I'm knacking the hell out of it. So that's kind of my...
That's your wrist, but what about your year?
My year, it has been feast or famine. And that's kind of where I say some weeks that you think are the normal type of week, if you think it's going to be like, we know this time of the year it's going to be a belter, and then it doesn't. And, and we go, that week is our belter week. And then the week that, like, everyone's meant to be on holiday, we have a belter.
In terms of watches, you mean? Sales
yeah, so sales, it's just been one of those things. It's been a slow year on launching. I haven't launched much this year.
True.
Purposely, I've pulled back this year. I feel like this year has been a bit of an interesting year. What have we got? 27 elections, 3 wars. It's been a bit of a weird year.
Yeah.
So kind of like, just hold back. Next year is going to be a belter.
Politically or watches?
I don't comment on political things at the moment.
Can I ask you a question? Because, I mean, in the year that we did the show, it was unbelievable. How prolific, how relentless, it was a watch a week, it felt like. But you did pull back. But did that actually give you R&D time for some big moves?
Yes and no. There's a watch that we're launching in January, and it is kind of because I don't want to show it. So no, I don't want to. That's 2 years late.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so that's 2 years late. Yes, we developed some other watches. Yes, but they're going to be slowly released next year and the year after. We've got a very, very, very good game plan for the next 2 years.
Your Instagram has still made it seem like you are actually James Bond.
No. I would say to you,
which Formula One race are we at this weekend? And
I have actually travelled more this year than previous years.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
but you haven't seen it on social. I've just been
kept it on the dark ops. Yeah.
Top secret.
Well, you are a force in British watchmaking, which is why you're in this room. And there are many other brands, including this one in this room. So what should we do? Because the people aren't going to, most of the people watching this video are going to be watching it after the Weekender, which is the event this weekend, where 15 of Britain's best brands are here. I think we should go raid the cabinets and choose our favorites, and then just talk, get them out.
Yeah, just highlight some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's go.
Shit. Cool.
All right, we're back. That was fun.
Shit.
that was interesting.
We get to keep these, right?
This is not Porsche, no. We've got a lot of watches on the table. I thought we could start by, remember those episodes where we put the watches out in a line? Mm-hmm. Let's do that with like price point, just to kind of arrange what we have.
No idea.
I have no idea on price points, so you're screwed on that one.
No, I reckon I can kind of guess.
I hope you can, because they're from your shop.
So
if you don't know the price point, you are screwed
I've got
on
one
that.
of my sales guys here, which is great. So Alex, you can
And he
answer
doesn't know
everything.
the price point. He's looking at you
suddenly
going,
started-
what the hell?
We're just throwing each other under the bus now.
Exactly. No, I think this would be cool because we can definitely talk about the watches we've got, but I think let's first arrange them for people so they get a sense of where they sit and whether they've got the money for them. So I'm going to start with a lower priced one. This is a Paulin watch, and Paulin is a
Freaking
brand.
cool.
It's a cool brand. It's part of the Anordain organization, so it's a bit of a Rolex Tudor situation. They're at the lower end of the price
love
point.
the
If
combination
you're
of
waiting for an Anordain, you can buy a Paulin in the meantime, and they're around 400 to under £1,000, but around that mark. I'm going to wind this so we get some action, but this is at the lower end. You've definitely the pizza's 550. I know that for a fact. So
Yeah,
that's at the lower
but
end.
this is your...
Oh, that's right at the top of the price point. If that's what I think it is.
No, but let's...
Did you chose that?
Yeah, why not?
Gee, you bastard. Okay.
So, but because let's
put it in the price point.
Yeah, so let's put Studio Underdog. The reason why I've chosen Studio Underdog, firstly because it's pizza, but this is your double pizza.
Yeah.
This is the one that has just done at auction. So
This is the pizza unique.
This is exactly the same as a banana, and it gets stuck to the table as a banana. So this is my kind of 2 cents on a Studio Underdog. Well done for $17,000.
Yeah.
And this is the Studio Underdog double pizza.
The half and half, it's half pepperoni, half Hawaiian. It's a pizza unique. We always, the story behind this is that we work backwards from the pun, Richard and I. Like we found the pun, we did the pizza watch and it was like, oh, imagine if we did a pizza unique. And it was like, we didn't even have an idea, but we just knew that that's too funny. So we did this.
Studio Underdog is the brand of the year, brand of last year, brand of this year, and it is absolutely amazing. And
everything he touches just turns to like
and you know
17 grand.
the thing is it's I think is absolutely amazing. He's really embraced his price points. I think when he goes up in price points, sometimes I go, okay, why is it there? Where he occupies this price point. The new drop was bloody amazing. I think some people will be getting the new drop now, delivery of a drop, because he said November, end of November, December, when people will be getting it. So I think that will be absolutely amazing. It's a knockout brand. Do
you want to hear a funny fact about it? That again, I hope, Richard, this doesn't end the friendship and I'm not giving too much away. But Seagull have done a ETA. Seagull have decided that they're not going to do minimum quantities and small quantities of their movements anymore. Basically to knock out all of these, and it's going to have a massive impact on a lot of micro brands. So now, have a guess what their minimum order quantity is.
Probably 10,000.
10,000 movements.
Jeez.
Spot on. So Richard is one of the few people, I think there's 3 brands that are able to continue ordering. But he does 12,000 watches a year currently and can just skimp into 10,000 Seagulls. But what a move from Seagull, and what an impact that will have on small India micro brands. So, he's made the cut, but that's going to have a massive impact.
But
on
also, I would
small
say
brands.
to you is that's the other thing that's happened. And when I say to you feast or famine as a year, a lot of the independents, it is a hard year. When you look at them, they're looking at reducing down their numbers. You think across the board, you look at any case manufacturer, anyone at the moment is saying it has to be this because they're not going to be spending the money going to the future.
Yeah.
So that's kind of it.
It could have the other effect, couldn't it? Though, like then maybe they'll open up to smaller quantities because they need the cash.
No, well, yeah, but I think it's taking a punt. A lot of those guys go, "Yep, we're going to go and do this. We'll do a small number for you." But so I think it's look, Studio Underdog. The reason why I picked it firstly, when I was going around here, my son was like, "Yeah, Studio Underdog. I really like that." For me, the watermelon is the one that I really liked. But then this double pizza, I just think 17 grand, amazing auction result. It's always good when you get an auction result.
That was last night in this space.
That's
We've
crazy.
got some B-roll of it, but it got pretty mental. But so this is sort of again this is 4,500. This is 550 for the standard piece. Adrian, what you got?
Right, so I think I'm just going to win straight off, as I normally do. But first I want to highlight a bit of a glow up. Because there's this trend on social media where people say, oh, how it started, and then you flick over, how it's going.
Yeah.
And so I kind of want to showcase Christopher Ward.
Oh, hello.
OG Christopher Ward.
How it started, where you found that.
Like-
You weren't meant to find that.
So this is an OG Christopher Ward. And I'm assuming this is one of the Tridents.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got some little chips and dents on the side. So yes,
Yeah,
it
this-
is.
it's-
It's true OG.
Frankly, not a good looking watch. There's lots of things about this watch that I think are...
It's a homage watch.
are-
100%.
Yeah. It's a rip-off of a Seamaster.
Yep.
So, from that to this.
Oh, hello.
I kind of feel like this is one hell of a transition of a watch brand that started off doing homage watches.
Winner of GPHG.
Winner of
last year.
GPHG. That they've still focused on doing something that is epically well built for the money. And I think it's just an insane transition of doing something that is a homage of a
How
sports
are these
watch.
related, Adrian?
Exactly, that is my point. But I feel like it works. They've done it to the point where they can do this now because they transitioned, they built something solid and reliable. People bought in, they trusted the brand, and now bam.
I think that should be worth a lot more than what it is. You get a bang for your buck on that watch.
But I feel like that's part of the punk side of Christopher Ward, is that they've come in and their business model isn't we're going to build a luxury product and charge people a disproportionate profit margin.
Yeah.
They've come in and said, I think it's 3x cost that they want to do.
That's
and
it.
they're very open about that.
He says the Marks and Spencer model.
Yeah, exactly. And that is their proposition. And so I think it's amazing how they can come in and say, oh no, this is nicely finished. Yeah. We've only finished the bits that you can see. Yeah. If you look under the dial or under the bridges, it's not going to be nicely finished like a Patek or a Grand Seiko. So I just feel like they're punk, and that's part of the punk thing. Is like, look at this beautiful watch, and it's such a reasonable price.
I think the thing about Christopher Ward, you said it right, it's punk, but it's also, so I met Mike Franz for the first time, and I've got a little bit to share about this that's just really relevant. He's grown the business tremendously from this watch to this, but what he's done that I think nobody has ever done in watches is he goes against the business rules of staying in your lane and staying in your price point. He says, no, B&W don't do that. They've got a Series 1, which is the best you can get at that price point, and a Series 7. I don't know anything about cars. Is it Series 8? Is there such a thing?
No,
Yeah.
Is it?
Well,
oh, no, there is. Yeah.
so it used to be an
even
8,
numbers. Yeah.
So he said, why can't I do the same? I'll have a Series 1, a Trident that's under £1,000, and I'll have a Belcanto at 3.5. But they're the best you can get in that price point. In terms
that's what makes sense.
It's brilliant. But now he's got people saying, oh, we'll spend £5,000 or £10,000 on a Christopher Ward. You just have to make it good value for what it is. So if you do a tourbillon at £10,000, suddenly it's like, that is punchy.
Yeah.
You know, that's going to beat Horage or something that's trying to be the best price point. So I fully understand the brand after speaking to Mike, because before that I'm like, this is really weird. Why are they selling watches at £500?
Do you know what would be very
£4,000?
interesting is when you talk about the profit. I bet somewhere between here he was making more profit than he is here.
It's possible.
And the reason why I'm saying to you is because I think at some point he was low on staff, and so his overheads were very, very lean. And when you go up to something like this, your overheads would have to increase. So I think it's the economies of scale when you look at that. 10%
revenue doesn't equal profit.
No,
I've learned that a time and time. But this is way up here in price point, and let's start filling in the blanks. Well, I'll go again because we've done one each. I'm going to go Boken. Look at this.
Jesus
Look at this big
Christ,
boy.
it's a
tank. It is a tank. I'm going to try and do the Adrian thing here. I've gone the wrong way. Okay. Fuck up now. Okay. There we go. Look at this tank. So this is, I believe, going to be launched tomorrow at the British Weekend.
So this has been launched ages ago, and this is cut.
Yeah,
sorry to say, this has been launched months ago.
Come back with us. Look, and this is I think this is an inspirational story for people that want to start a microbrand. Adrian, you know this guy too. He's from Scotland. Nacho lives up there with you.
Nacho's one of the guys behind it. Yeah,
good guys, and I think that their whole mission story as a brand, they're brand new, and I've put them in here just because we started BYOI as part of the show because we want to shed a light on new brands, but this is kind of what you can realistically achieve, and this is mid-thousand. So this is 1,500. It's a 1,000-meter diver.
That's crazy.
It is an absolute monster on the wrist. I'm going to take off the
1,000 meters.
1,000 meters, and it's just they've done the branding well. Nacho's a branding guy. He's done fantastic graphic design for it, and the story is pretty thin. Like they're environmental warriors. They're donating 50 pounds to save the ocean, and that side of it is it's nice but not particularly unique. But what they're doing is they're going for that real massive build quality tool watch, beast watch, aqua racer, deep sea dweller, and for 1,500 pounds. I can kind of see myself. I could get on board this. Like
the specs are quite amazing.
As a weekend monster.
Ceramic insert. Siri keeps going up.
Yeah.
Is that yours? Right?
Is that yours? So 1,500, that sits in the middle, but that's what can be achieved as a new brand.
It is a true chunky monkey.
It's just, and the build quality is good though. Like you can feel.
The crown feels good. It's built.
It's all satin brush. There's no fanciness. There's no contrasting finishes.
Yeah, but the case back's really well done.
Yeah, and then again, just super trusty, reliable configuration, white dials, CMS 300 kind of vibes and so on. But I put it in there because, again, it goes a long way to be good operators.
Yeah.
They're here, they're pushing themselves, they're giving away a watch tomorrow to somebody that gets a poster signed with every brand in here. They're really, I don't know, I can't help but get behind it. And then there's a part of me that remembers in my early watch days, when you try a watch on that just feels solid and tough, it's like that's enough for me back then.
Yeah, you can enjoy
now,
it.
Of course, we pull things to pieces, but I reckon it's good. George,
Sweet.
number 2, what you got?
I'm going to go Vertex.
Oh, that's up here.
Okay.
Price point.
So the reason why I've gone Vertex, I like Don. I like the team. I think for me, Vertex is one of those brands that we have constantly heard about, and if you haven't heard about it, it was a BYOI back in the day.
I remember that well.
And I love Vertex. I think he is amazing. I think I love going to his shop. And he's got this cool shop, and there's a dog in it, and then there's a whiskey place upstairs, and it's just cool. And I love this bronze case. And when I looked at it, it is reminiscent of the Dirty Dozen. Do you want to make that a little bit bigger? It is reminiscent of the Dirty Dozen. I really love how he's done the luminous. I like that matte black dial. I like the combination. The bronze with that combination really works very well.
It feels highly caloric. I feel like this is 700 calories.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It is a smaller watch, but
Try
I
it on.
actually
Let's see it on your wrist.
I love the 3D loom.
That's what
it's so
I think he's done a very, very good job. And when he explained his dive watch and how it's a barrel of this
that
and
looks
how
cool.
It does look good.
and it's just a very,
On your
very
tiny
cool
wrist, that actually looks quite good. But this is a Dirty Dozen brand. This is one of the 12 brands that was commissioned.
A true Dirty Dozen
brand. And this is, to me,
That looks
a
amazing.
brand that has been handled beautifully into its second life, because he manages to stay within the authentic realms of a military watch. And his production is so clever because he's never quite got enough. I'll say, Donna, I saw your new M36. He's like, all gone.
The website. So often you go on, sold out.
And I say, you've got the bronze with green dial, all gone. But I make it yesterday. So he's someone. And again, I like to bring in the different business models. You know, Richard's ordering 10,000 at a time. You know, Boken is starting out and probably really tight, you know, sailing close to the wind. Vertex, he is a master of nailing. He doesn't overreach and doesn't lie about sell-outs. You'll often go in and say, it says it on the site, but that's not real. And he'll be like, no, there's nothing for you. It's cool. It's clever.
Crazy.
And that's what I like about what he does. And I think he does it with finesse and panache.
Yeah. Good one. You took the cherries. When I saw that you were going for Vertex, I'm like, of course.
Yeah, I was annoyed you took Vertex.
Yeah.
Hello.
But I would have taken it. There is a green dial there in bronze.
I've got one of those and I love it. And this is where
You've got one of those. He's just...
Got everything.
You just never know with George.
It's a walking watch shop.
When do you wear it?
Weekends. It's my weekend warrior.
Inside the confines of the Gloucestershire
This is more my level
compound.
of weekend warrior.
Whoa!
So this is,
what is this animal?
Another beast. So this is an Elliot Brown.
Lord.
This is...
Oh, yeah.
Holy moly.
These guys are so... I mean, yeah,
They
that's titanium, isn't it?
They're related by
this feels like steel. It looks like titanium. I think it's just...
it is steel.
Sandblasted steel.
Sandblasted steel.
Sandblasted steel.
So this is Elliot Brown, a relatively small company. I think from a marketing standpoint, a relatively quiet company. And that's kind of one of their powerful things, is that the whole premise is that we don't want to be restricted by corporate restrictions or heritage, and we don't want unnecessary constraints like we often see in the watch industry. And so they essentially just want to make cool watches. But what a lot of big brands do is they make out that they have a connection with military units. These guys, this is the issued watch for the Special Forces, the SBS.
This is?
Yeah.
Right.
But they don't talk about it. No. And I just think that's just so punk.
I wonder why you chose them, because I don't know much about them, but this has got a Pelagos feel. It's all very matte.
But everything about it is so epically purposeful and stealth.
There is quite a lot of military.
That's
where
nice.
Yeah. They've got a lot of connections. And I'm sure the SBS wouldn't allow them to say that this is the issue watch, but it's the fact that you have so many brands out there saying,
But it's not only them, it is across so many military.
Yeah.
And there is, we know, and you did an amazing video on a SAS military Explorer 2.
Yeah.
But these are the guys that, like, those will be a limited edition that they'll wear on high days and holidays. This is what they wear in proper combat. That's what.
How much? Is anyone finding out for us? I have no idea.
This is about 700.
Oh, 700. Okay, so we're on this side of that. We're between those.
And I think it's such a killer watch.
I'm going to move this across because this is the auction one, so I don't want to damage
don't
the
touch it. Yeah, and if you did win this at
polish
auction,
that a bit.
we are treating it. This is now extra famous. It's worth more now.
Is that the one
It's got some tape on it, and like the banana,
George, you put tape
like the banana, it is going to be that it has to be 160 centimeters from the ground, and you will be supplied with some tape and a banana for free.
Luminous bezel. That's cool.
Everywhere.
Loomed everywhere. Whoa! Can you see that? That's cool.
Okay.
So yeah, we've got.
Moving on, Andrew.
500, 550, 915, around 1500, 2.5 and 3.5. My next watch is an Isotope.
Oh, I like
Jose
these guys.
from Isotope. This guy is so passionate, so invested in his brand. Speaking of military, this has got military tones.
It really has, yeah.
Yeah, and I think this is just getting all of those nuances right. So Isotope's pitch
Cali
is...
dial.
Yeah, Cali dial. Again, you got that kind of Fotina. It's fairly tastefully done. But Isotope are just wildly creative. One of the watches I do like over there in the cabinet that I didn't want to bring just because I already had a horizontally brushed silver dial is the Mercury. And this is a more conservative Isotope, but he will do wildly creative and seemingly impossible things. He's created a mirror dial on the Mercury that's convex, which means that when you look at it, you don't have your immediate reflection. So it is a full mirror dial, but it's quite hard to polish a mirror dial. So that's a crazy example. This is a more conservative example.
And this and the Vertex have the same type of dial, and there is kind of that 3D luminous with the tarmac dial. Very,
what do you think
cool.
of it, Adrian?
I really like it. It's definitely got old school military, like the first, I'm thinking the early 50 fathoms, bezel style. You got the Californian dial. Yeah, it's definitely got old school field watch, or the first generations of dive watch about it.
Yep.
Really
and again,
interesting.
nice matte
Chunky.
sort of steel case, and again, lovely sort of cinnamon suede strap. Look, it's the least creative isotope, but it's one that I know people watching are going to be like, I like that.
Yeah.
Yep. George?
No, I'm going to go. Go on, Adrian, because I'm going to end up, because I think then we're going to talk about this as well. So
Is this about 1,500? 1,000. Okay, so that's in here. Okay. Good news.
So this is a brand called Fairer.
Adrian.
I've got a bit of a story about them.
So Fairer.
Yep.
Fairer.
I like
How do you
this.
say it?
Wait,
Fairer?
sorry. That's what I think is freaking cool.
it's
is
so
how they
cool. The
finish
knurling
this-
on that
the
is-
knurling on the side. I really love that.
And that's their signature.
So little story. When I first started Bark and Jack, about
1,000 years ago.
1,000 years ago, about 8 years ago, my original plan was I wanted to start
kind of
a watch
yeah.
company. I wanted to make watches. And I had all of these designs in my head, and I was putting them down on paper, and I was trying to source things, and then I came across Fairer. Fuck you. Like you'd
Colours,
that is
everything.
it.
That was your idea.
That was
So
it.
sum up your idea in 3 words.
Essentially, it was traditional, nothing crazily different, but just taking inspiration from vintage watches, doing it in a modern way, and adding a little build quality modern way, but also adding a little modern touch to it, which was going to be color.
Yeah.
No obscene colors, just very classy.
They do it.
Subdued colors,
Yes.
and that's exactly what these guys do. This is their product. Is that their watches
Yes.
feel modern, but
Yeah.
there's nothing untraditional about them.
You
They
feel,
have
you feel
nothing-
comfortable with them.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
It feels familiar. It feels comfortable, and the modern twist is the little touches of color. And I feel the colors are so tasteful. And there was no way I could have done that or a better job. And I thought, I'm not going to do it.
Do you know when I first saw this brand, and this was the weirdest thing, is I saw a pilot, and it was a British Airways pilot, and we were sitting just waiting to get on the plane. The guy was sitting there, and it was that brass
Yes,
end
such a-
on the crown.
such a
And the
cool
reason why is I'm normally, so I am what would I say, a magpie on watches, and I can normally tell. And I couldn't figure out the brass thing, so I then sat and chatted to the pilot, to the point where halfway through the flight, I then sat and chatted to him for hours, for about an hour, about watches because of that watch.
It's such
So
a,
it was
it's
kind
such
of
a subtle
starting-
little
and it was
detail.
that brass or coppery crown, and I think it's very recognisable as theirs.
And I think if there's any takeaway from the success of Farah, who sell in the realm of 3,000 watches a year, like this, that's a pretty big number. This is a top 5 British brand in terms of production revenue and I would say esteem as well. It's just that how important the details are to a watch. Like you talked about, there's this knurling on the side, on the mid case. It just the actual pitch of the tones is just perfect.
That is
You've
lovely.
got kind of like an eggshell, or how would you describe these colors? There's
satisfying.
like a robin's egg blue, but again, the quality of the sunray. Paul just has crazy instincts, and it's the details that are taking this watch to. There's a lot of watches that have these elements. This is I believe, a mono pusher chronograph, and I think what's the price of this round? 2,000. So this is getting closer to that level, but you won't find a watch with these elements for that price. So it's got that punchy value proposition.
So it's a manual wind. So it'd be a 510 Solita movement,
Yeah.
and and he's finished the backplate beautifully.
Oh, nice.
it's really
I'm a
good.
bit kind of like on glass case backs. I don't know if everyone likes it. I'm neither here nor there. But the 510 movement is beautiful, and the manual wind is a really nice one. I think it's an ace watch.
It is. Yep. So
Cool.
there's one left on the table.
There's one left, and the reason why I've left it to last is because I then thought we may discuss it afterwards, because I think that then gets us into a bit of kind of like the recap of what's happened in the year, because I think this is one of those watches that actually could be the recap.
This is one of the big themes, one of the big bombshells of the year.
This is the big bombshell.
And I hope you're going to come in swinging, George, because you've got vested interests. I mean,
So, what I would say to you is this is one of my highlights of the stand when I was at Watches and Wonders, was a highlight of the stand, and they didn't properly push it out until later on. And that is the brand new Bremont black ceramic
did you say hell yeah?
500-meter dive watch. I think it's 500-meter. Yes, it's 500-meter dive watch, full ceramic case. I love the finishing on the case. I love the ceramic finishing. I loved it on the strap. When Davide showed me all the new lineup, this is the one that really got to me, the green and the black version. And he's just brought out the GMT versions and the blue version that when we were walking around, my son was just like, hey, that's the one. But I actually like this. One thing, and I will say to you is I'm being absolutely amazing about all these. The criticism on that is you can't strap hack it. And I am annoyed when brands don't let you strap hack. I think it is easy to do a strap hack. And if you can't do a strap hack, I think you're missing a trick. I think that every generation, and I think the younger generation are very much, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you like strap hacking. I think you like changing your strap and making it your own. You like it when you're on a Bark and Jack, what is it? Oxford Bond Street and Piccadilly, whatever the hell they're now called. But what I would say is...
Insert correct term here.
But what I would say is that for me is, I think it's absolutely amazing, but I think I would damage the case by changing the strap, and that's something that bugs me. But I love that watch. I freaking love. I love how the bezel feels. I don't know about price.
Yeah.
So it's a ceramic watch. It's a dive watch. I think this is Davide through and through. This for me feels so the where Bremont was. These two are Supermarines, and this is where it is. So
of all the launches of the
so now we're going into.
I don't want to be rude.
Well, no, but.
When did you ever be worried about being rude? Where would this show be
Okay,
if you'd
do you
been
want
worried
to
about
take a
being
bit of a break
rude?
now, and then we come back?
I first had this sense when I did a video about a Zenith watch, and I was rude about that. And
Yeah, the Chronomaster Sport, I remember.
Yeah.
You weren't rude, you were just wrong.
No, I was fucking right. I was.
There we go, there's my boy, there's my boy. Now go. Come on, go.
I always remember that there's actually people behind these watch brands. It's not just a watch brand. There's people working and they're trying to do something right and they have these ideas. And me just saying gobby stuff doesn't. They've got feelings too. Watches have feelings too. Right. This, I think, is the best watch Bremont has launched for a very long time.
Fuck off.
No, legitimately.
Fuck off.
Oh, okay, apart from that one.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Should we just start the episode now?
Of their main core line, I think that shape, especially given, what was it? Terra Nova.
Yeah.
Not a fan of the Terra Nova at all. Of the new rebranding, I think this is going to be the new commercial piece. This could bring it back round for them. Still not a massive fan of the logo,
Okay.
though.
The
Yeah,
logo.
okay, I'm really sorry, but you were then talking to me about Jaguar and you were complaining about their logo. Honestly,
I don't like change.
you don't like change, but also the other thing is, it's like that scenario.
Come on, you've
The
chosen two absolute
the-
howlers there to
No,
talk
no, no,
about.
no, no,
in terms of
okay.
brand redesigns.
Yeah, but guess what?
Who's going to stand up and say the new Jaguar rebrand's good?
I actually think, okay, I'll come back to that. I think there is.
Stop tape.
I think the vision of the future is very much a vision of the future. It's changing. It's saying.
There's your wayfarer. There's your compass for the future.
Well, whatever the case on that is, and I will say to you is, if you go on rebrand, I would go to you and I'd go, okay, fine. But the great thing is, what did we talk about the most about after Watch and Wonders? Everything else, I can't remember anything else apart from we talked about Bremont. We talked about
That's
their
why we need to
rebrand.
talk about it
We
now.
talked about all of these things.
But
we
it's no longer true that there's no such thing as bad marketing, bad publicity,
Jesus
rather.
Christ.
Because
Yeah.
there is. I mean, the whole Cubitus thing is a perfect example of how
No, but
everyone can talk about it.
You're jumping
Yes,
across.
save your powder
We're
for
going to
that.
go on to that. But what I would say to you about something like this is, yes, it's a rebrand. And why I put this in Jaguar is because it has to separate from the past. It has to go to something new. The Jaguar, and I will go to you and say, Jaguar customers that were existing don't buy Jaguars. and they'd go and buy an old one and say, oh, an E-Type is me in a Jaguar. They wouldn't buy an F-Type. They wouldn't buy any of the other Jaguars. So when you look at it, they have to separate the past to the future. And you can respect the past, but really what they've done is they're saying, hey, we're doing something else. Bremont, why I think on this is I love Giles and Nick, and I think absolutely amazing. I absolutely love Davide. He is one of those that back in the day, he was the one that when he was working for Tudor at Basel World, he was the only one that came and put an arm around me and took me for one of those sausages. So what I would say...
Can we make that a little hot start? He took you for a sausage.
He took me for a sausage. But this for me... Well, if anyone knows, the Basel sausages are right outside. They're disgusting.
It's an innocent statement.
And they're hot dogs and they are disgusting, but you go and that's where all the meetings happen.
Okay.
But why I'm talking to you about rebranding and boring you beyond belief, but you're wanting to be controversial.
Can I get a word in at some point?
No, you can't.
Okay,
no, you can't
not.
because you're exhibiting them here.
Absolutely.
And you're supporting. But I look at this as a rebrand, and I think where we go on this is, I think that this is a really, really great next step. Go on, Andrew.
Am I clear? All clear.
So they're rebrand.
Okay, so the issues with the Bremont rebrand for me are all around identity and Britishness. I feel that British watchmaking is having a moment. I feel that the previous British version of Bremont, for all its flaws and foibles and unfeasible business structures, like there's more to a brand than what we see. We see the little tip of the iceberg. We don't see the actual business model that it's aiming to function on. So there were major issues with Bremont. It wasn't profitable. It was simply that things needed to change. However, I think that what didn't need to change that has changed with Bremont is that it has lost its Britishness, and I want that back. I want to use this new logo, this compass, to find a way back to the Britishness that I thought the brand had. Very promising, tempting little flames that could have been, blown into an inferno. Can I please finish, George? Because you've really had 18 minutes on this subject. So I feel that it was just a case of jumping from one identity and problems that needed to change to a quick a major idea of a fix. As in, we'll fix this, and we'll do it all at once. And I feel that they left their previous customers behind, like myself, who have a Martin Baker and love that Britishness of the brand. I just feel disconnected from the new version. And I feel that there now needs to be a winding back just to get us back on board. So here's an example of how they're actually doing that. Because you're watching now probably thinking, the show was going so well, but they haven't spoken truth to Bremont. Bremont are actually listening to this feedback. And this logo on this model is 17% smaller than the logo on the Terra Nova. So they're actually listening and readjusting and refining. This is my favorite of these new models too, but this is just a nice watch. This isn't a nice Bremont to me. And that's because I still want that Britishness, and British luxury is a thing. The Queen in gumboots, Defender, Bond, like British luxury is rugged, it's over-engineered, it's kind of clunky and awkward, and like Defenders aren't anywhere near as comfortable as like a high-end Hyundai. Like other car brands do luxury better than Defenders, but it's British luxury. And I feel that Bremont need to reconnect with that. That's my speech about it. I feel disconnected from the new Bremont as a previous Bremont customer, but I believe that it's possible that they can be bridged, but they need to listen more. They need to keep listening. And I think that they need to keep in mind that British watchmaking is having a moment. British luxury has a huge opportunity. I feel this is like a Hublot moment where George needs to put a huge watch in front of my face or something to lighten the mood. But
No.
Shall we talk about the Cubitus?
Yeah, okay.
Please.
You had a massive rant this year. Your biggest rant was reserved for Patek.
I've been a grumpy prick.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
that's normal. That's totally normal.
But
Aim it at Patek is new.
But are you? I think it's hip to be square.
Oh,
No.
dude.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's a stinker.
So Patek have launched the Cubitus.
Positive vibes only.
New Tell that to the fucking CEO of Patek.
Yeah, exactly. Never have, never will.
So first new line of watch model for them in 25 years.
Yeah.
For me, I don't like the watch. I got hands on with it. It's the design. As a brother watch to the Nautilus is gorgeous. It's a supermodel of a watch. And then the Cubitus is just...
Even with its elephant ears?
And I just find everything pleasing about it. It's not my style of watch. I'd never have one, even if I could afford one. But it is just outright gorgeous. The Cubitus is just a mess. There are so many other brands. Cartier, there's Microbrands. There's a British Microbrand. Can't remember what they're called. Who do something very similar, and the design is fantastic.
Benjamin something.
Benjamin, yes.
Benjamin Charles or
James?
something? Benjamin James, that's it.
I think that's it. Really good looking watch.
Yeah.
Far more affordable. But regardless, it was the attitude of the president of Thierry Stern of Patek, which I know is a contentious thing to say, because that's like criticizing Rolex. They have so much power, and I know the media world is concerned of upsetting them, because I accept I probably won't go to Watches and Wonders 2025 because they're the power behind it. And so it's a contentious thing to talk about.
What annoyed you about what he said?
It was the without getting political.
No, I think you have to. I think if it's annoyed you... And
so no, there was nothing classy about it. Patek is a very classy, very gentleman. Talk about British luxury. It's true luxury, I feel, Patek. And the tone of voice that came from Thierry Stern wasn't luxury. It was arrogance. It was self-importance. It was, I'm fantastic. I know what I'm doing. I am right. He
has a nose for design.
I have a nose for design, despite saying he's never studied design. He just gets it right. And so he's so self-assured. And there's nothing classy about that. Sure, be confident, but don't communicate in a way.
So you want ambition out of him?
Exactly. I feel like there's a level of power. If you think about Rolls-Royce, they don't shout about how fantastic they are. They just create a fantastic machine. And I think there was a famous saying that Rolls-Royce had the power of the engine was plenty. It's irrelevant. We just make a fantastic
That's like me
machine.
with movements. They're just good.
It's just good.
It's enough.
And so I feel like the product should scream for itself. The thing that really annoyed me was how he just discarded, talking about how Bremont listens, he discarded all the hate for the watch down to those people who can't afford, essentially, a Patek Philippe.
Okay, I'm going to come at something that I noticed, and this is something that... So, Tag Heuer brought out their Seafarer, or the Mariograph. Mm-hmm. Absolutely loved it.
Hodinkee model.
Yeah, Hodinkee, Tag Heuer, but I absolutely...
You were involved in that.
No, anyway. But what annoyed me...
We know you now, George.
And someone may have seen me in the comments at Hodinkee, but what annoyed me about it...
You answered every comment.
Because I went after everyone that was being an absolute dick about it. Because the reason why is when you looked at some of the people that were saying, hey, it's too big, I'm not going to buy it, they had watches on their selection. I'm sorry, but just go. It's too expensive. I'm not going to buy it. That's something that when you look at those comments, most of the people that were being negative about it were trying to say, oh, that's why I'm not going to buy it. You look at the code 40 whatever from AP. Mm-hmm. Now that is starting to get traction with people. I think it's hip to be square on this. I think at some point we will go, oh my God, they have done a concept on this that will jump this watch into the psyche. At some point, this will come into people's psyche. I think it will be something in
Patek Philippe have done horrendous watches in the past.
Yeah, they have.
And there's a Nautilus, I think it's a travel time Nautilus, and the fucking logo is like halfway down, like 230 or something, and then all the subdials it's all horrendous.
But look at their concept pieces that they've done, and some of those. I think this could be, and I can imagine it in new materials. I think reserving judgment is one of the things, because unless you are going to put your hand in your pocket and go, I'm going to buy it, if you're wanting to be the critic about it, then the best way of being a critic is going, I'm not going to buy that.
And this was my original stance was, it's ugly, who cares? It wasn't until I read the article on the president. I thought,
See, can I jump in? Because again, I'm struggling to get a word in on these contentious watches, which is killing me. I like what Thierry Stern said, and I like the way he said it.
Okay. Is that all you want to say?
I want CEOs to give as many fucks as Thierry Stern gave when he gave that speech, which was a fat zero. He spoke.
That's fine. That's fine if your product's good.
No. There's two parts to this. There's two parts because there's a stinger coming. Thierry, this is not a bed of roses, my friend. I love that he said it. I love that he spoke what CEOs speak. When I sit at a dinner table with CEOs, I hear that kind of talk. It never makes it past the PR department.
Exactly.
Love it. Keep being real. Take the filter off. Speak from your mind. He spoke to... There are Patek buyers and collectors that read his comments and they love Patek even more for it. He speaks to his base with a comment like that. There's no problem with the comment. Number two, though, the watch is not bad. It is lazy. 25 years and you put a round movement in a square case.
Yeah,
come on.
That was diabolical.
That's upsetting.
Yeah.
That gets Thierry, love the comments, hate the watch, and I don't hate it because it's bad. It's just, come on. Your last two series, in one decade, they did the Aquanaut. Pretty incredible. Nice evolution of the Nautilus, and they did the 24, which I think is a real sleeper. I think this is a very beautiful, beautiful series that is underappreciated. 25 years to work on a watch, and you put a round movement. You are the best. You're a Trinity watchmaker, and you can't adapt the movement to a square case.
Completely agree with that. Completely agree with that. I'd like to come back to his comments. So I had a big birthday this year, and I was supposed to...
50.
No, not quite.
Okay.
A lot younger than you. 60. So I had a big birthday this year, and I was supposed to be treating myself to a big watch.
Yeah.
Until I lost a lot of money.
We shall not name.
I lost multiple Pateks money in this thing. I would not go buy Patek. I'm looking at buying Patek level, but I would not buy Patek now.
Based on that comment.
On that comment.
Okay, interesting.
Okay, what I would say to you is, and this is back to my thing of, let's say a plane. You're sitting on that plane and you're going, in-flight services shit, this is blah, 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 blah. And yes, you may be on British Airways. But the thing I would say to you is,
accurate.
The pilot in the front doesn't care about what you're saying behind. He can't even hear you. He doesn't. So this is where I say about purchasing or not purchasing. We make an active decision of what we purchase. We can comment about politics, but unless you're in politics or making a difference in politics, shut the fuck up.
Well,
and that's where I am
George,
on this.
By that
Cubitus.
logic, you can't comment on a watch that you don't have the money to buy. I think that's nonsense. I think that you can be a watch critic that will never have the budget for watches you critique.
But
however,
then criticize it properly.
But I do think there's some truth to this. If you're criticizing a watch that's never in your consideration set, that's very different to somebody that's criticizing it who might feasibly say, well, I'm going to buy either a complicated Vacheron or a Cubitus. That is much, to me, there's more investment and there's more gravitas. If you did have 500 grand in your bank account every year for watches and the Cubitus came up and you said, no way, that sucks, that has a lot more weight than someone that has...
Cool, perfect. So that is the proof to all of this case here is how many Cubiti are on Chrono 24. At the time that I made my video, there was over 100 on the grey market.
Wow.
It was released 2 weeks prior.
Yeah.
Patek makes 60,000 watches a year. Why are there 100 of these very
people
rare?
Want to make a lot of money on them.
Exactly.
Because they were going for 100.
It's all toxic.
So they value making money rather than having a watch.
So for me, when I'm coming to your about being a critic, I am very, very...
So I kind of agree with you, which grieves me.
For me, what I would say to you is what you're doing on a critic is saying... Now, I would go to you and I could run through some of these watches. I could be an absolute critic on each of these watches. But what you've done, and I really like it, is you said, I don't like that it hasn't got a square movement. That, for me, is educated and properly saying, not, hey, it's ugly. Give me a proper reason why it's ugly. Give me the reason why the lugs don't fit.
Have you put it on the wrist?
Yeah, I've put it on the wrist.
He's bought several.
No, I haven't.
That smile. We know that smile, George.
No, honestly, I have not. I have not.
So it's the spacing. The spacing of the Nautilus is stunning. The proportion between the case, the dial, and the hand. All of that fits beautifully, and the bracelet as well.
But remember when that came out?
Regardless, exactly.
So when that came out, everyone hated it and thought it was the most. So the original Nautilus.
Don't make that case.
No, I promise you.
That invalidates anything you hate.
No. When the original Nautilus came out, the Gerald Gentle design.
But with that logic, that would be understandable because it was such a departure for Patek. It was such a departure within the watch world. This isn't. This is just a square Nautilus.
Let's change it up. I feel like we've nailed that one very messily. Falling Rolex prices is a big story this year. For the whole period of about effing time.
Second-hand prices?
Yes, falling secondary prices. For the whole 18 months that we did the show, Rolex was king. Rolex was peaking. You talked about your abusive relationship where you felt like a child with parents that didn't pay you attention or know your name. I do have 3 kids. I sometimes forget the last one's name. It happens. No, but we're in this very different Rolex environment. It's so different.
Yeah,
now.
but the market's in a different place.
It's so different. But like, what is our quick recap on that? Do we think we'll ever buy a sub at retail now? I've heard of multiple people this week getting called about Submariners. That changes
It's
everything.
getting so and so. So many watches.
Bicolours as
Explorer
well.
2 under retail. Sea Dweller under retail. There's so many watches.
Pretty much all gold Rolex under retail.
The car market is exactly the same. You look at a Porsche Dakar, that's now just come under retail.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you look at these things, everything, all the hot things are coming off. And the reason is because someone goes, I don't need another watch, I don't need another car, or I don't need that in my life. We've got X amount of elections that have happened.
If you take away profiting from the purchase, it changes the whole consideration. And do you still feel as in awe of the brand now that it's off that?
Literally just about to say, I'm all for the crashing of the Rolex market.
Because you're buying.
I want to go get a fucking Pepsi.
Okay.
Still?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
Captain Boring for life.
no, but I agree with you. But there is another great YouTube out there. Harry Metcalf has an amazing one. He talks about this thing of how bad it feels when you lose a big profit on a watch. Or sorry, he was talking about a car, and he said basically normally you can flip it and you feel very positive about that. But when you lose a lot of money, you only do it once, and you go, I'm not going to touch that brand again. The fall.
Oh, I agree. It ruins the relationship.
But I agree with you. If it is still that something that connects to you, it really doesn't matter.
What we proved today,
it drops
Adrian
in price,
truly is a fanboy of Rolex in good times and bad times and under retail times.
I want the market to crash.
So you can get a Pepsi.
So what I can get the watches.
So
that
everyone, your recession.
But you're nihilistic.
You're living out on the
that
street,
way.
but at least Adrian's got a Pepsi.
No, but you are nihilistic in that way.
Or narcissistic.
I lose out on that.
Yeah.
Like, my collection goes down.
I know. It just shows you're not a hype boy.
Now, I think, Andrew, it's BYOI. Who has got one?
I've got one.
Have you?
Yeah.
Have you really?
I do.
Oh, hello.
And no, I'm going to flip it over so you can't see what it is. So.
I know what it is.
Still
What's
fucking
on
up.
the wrist? Is that your Grand Seiko?
Yeah, you can't do a wrist check. God, check how suave this dude is.
You're looking ripped. You've been hanging out with Andrew too much.
Yeah, mate, he's always been more jacked than me.
That looks sick.
That's a Resonance.
Oh,
That is really cool.
Yeah.
I like the
It's
arm
nice.
as well. Okay. F off. I know what this is.
Gentlemen, what?
Yeah, I know what it is.
Okay. Well, gentlemen,
This was one of my BYAs a while ago.
You've never been able to say it. You still can't.
No, I can't still say it.
I want to talk a little bit about some of the unexpected consequences of what we did together. Our 18 months of hanging out, recording so much stuff, is that sometimes you weren't aware of what the ripples were creating. So I got a voice message from a chap, and it was just out of the blue.
Name beginning with N?
Yes,
Yeah.
this is a guy called Neil.
Discommon.
And I will play you that voice message right now.
Hello, gentlemen. It's Neil from Block Watches, also Discommon. Know you all through various different things. I believe that you should probably be holding one of the first ever pieces of BK38, which is our adult size version of our kids' watch. It is a GMT, it's steel core, plastic body. It has a sapphire crystal lens, and it's in sort of our signature kind of mischievous, fun colors. There's a definite whimsy to it. I think I owed you fucking buffoons a thank you for this because...
How good is this guy?
Well, there was always, we always had this goal of doing an adult version of our kids' watch, to expand the categories of stuff. But I think it was on an About Effing Time episode that Adrian mentioned, oh shit, I'd use something like this for my ADHD. And then I realised that I have ADHD extremely badly and I use Block Watch all the time for it. And maybe an actual adult-sized version of our kids' watch would be bloody good for grown-ups. I just thought it would be fun to do it at one point in time. I never really considered that it would actually be, tactically or sort of educationally sound as well. So you're holding one in John Player special colorway, which obviously we're not allowed to say out loud, but it is. And George has an ever so slight affinity to John Player special race cars, as do I.
Yes.
So thank you. I think also maybe it should be a little bit of an FU as well for the fact that it consumed my life for 11 months as we tried to make an adult size of this watch. But I hope you love it. I am most partially drawn to the click of the bezel, which is a very satisfying piece of engineering and slightly nerdy, but that's me. Anyway, much love. Thank you very much for supporting.
Fun and sexy.
So, just take a moment.
Yeah, that's cool.
Did we have any idea that all that we said about, hey, Block, you should do one for adults? I wanted to be able to teach my kids off my own wrist with how to read the time. You had your comments. George, you love JPS. Neil went and made this watch. So I think one of the unticked boxes, and when people come up to me and say, oh, Andrew, is the show ever coming back? And the other thing that people say is, you never made a watch. How could you have never done a watch together? I think we accidentally made a watch.
That's cool, full circle.
But I love some of the BYOIs. If you said about me and Studio Underdog, and I forgot now.
That was the first one.
Yeah, so that
I bought one because of that.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah.
you
Because of
did
George.
too. Yeah, and
You did
built,
too.
that I think.
And at that point, I was nowhere near in business with him on anything.
Yeah.
So
I got him
it's
to
just,
admit that he's in business with him. Anyway,
we've got him in the shop permanently. It's not a secret.
but for me, I love Block. I love what he does. I love his design aesthetic. I think this is. I've been desperate to see this. I got my delivery of this today. Not this colorway, another colorway, and I am absolutely.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
But I love his attention to detail. He is someone that whenever I do a design of a watch, he is my first to see.
So check it out. It's got this full kind of night mode, stealthy color scheme. But here's the zinger. And here's where things get interesting for you potentially, if you like what you're seeing. This is a steel case. It's got a steel core case construction, super tough. My kids each have a Block watch, and they haven't destroyed them after ripping apart Flick Flacks as if they were just chicken wings. They destroy them. So here's the interesting part. Neil is offering to do stitched About Effing Time straps with a code if you buy this watch. And this could actually be from zero to hero, having done nothing for a year. We might come back here with a watch. I think it'll be around 379 US, so probably under 300 pounds. But it's just a funny little twist that we come back, this watch is going into production. I received the message saying this wouldn't exist if it wasn't for About Effing Time. And I look at it and think, that's the kind of watch, like we talked about a G-Shock, we designed a couple of G-Shocks. What a twist that is, and what a way to finish this reunion episode. We accidentally made a watch. I love it, and I think in London, again, that's a really handy, safe watch. it's got all of us in it.
And also the size is perfect.
Yeah.
I think it is. I think it's a perfect unisex watch.
So look, this could just be the end of the story, but it's interesting that Neil said, hey, as a thank you to you guys, if you ever want to do anything with this, the About Effing Time watch is what he calls it.
That's cool.
He's up for it. So, I mean, I'm exhausted. I'm pretty exhausted. Yeah. I remember this feeling.
So is it about, are we out?
I think it's About Effing Time we close this reunion.
Amazing. Hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you for being with us. Thank you. Look at this. I love this.
Thank you so much.
George's son's in the back. Anything else to say, boys?
No, thank you very much.
It's been a blast.
Cue the music.